A new dawn. In the sprawling metropolis of New Los Angeles, where skyscrapers scraped the sky and neon lights flickered like distant stars, Dean Walker was about to embark on an unexpected journey. As a memory implant technician at M Corp, he had dedicated his life to the development and perfection of artificial memories. However, nothing could prepare him for the events that would unfold during what he thought was a routine day. Dean had just returned home after a long day at work, his mind still buzzing from the myriad of memories he had implanted in clients. He plopped down on his couch, the weight of exhaustion pressing down on him. The holographic screen flickered to life, displaying the latest news report. As the anchor discussed mundane events, Dean's attention drifted. He couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was lurking beneath the surface of his ordinary life. It was then that he decided to try out the latest memory implant. He had heard rumors about a new feature that promised a more immersive experience, one that felt almost real. After a few moments of hesitation, he activated the device, eager to escape into a world beyond his own. The experience began with a gentle pull, like being drawn into a warm embrace. Dean found himself in a lush alien landscape, vibrant colors swirling around him. In the center of this beautiful world stood Aaron, a strikingly beautiful alien maid. Her azure skin shimmered under the light of two suns, and her violet eyes seemed to hold secrets untold. She moved with a grace that felt both captivating and ethereal. "Welcome, Master Dean," Aaron purred, her voice smooth as silk. She leaned closer, the scent of exotic flowers enveloping him. "How may I serve you today?" Dean's heart raced. He was entranced, caught in a moment where fantasy blurred with reality. The tension in the air was palpable as he felt an inexplicable connection to her. Thank you, Aaron," he stammered, trying to collect his thoughts. Her presence was intoxicating. As the memory unfolded, Dean felt himself falling deeper into the experience. The way Aaron touched his hand sparked something inside him, a warmth that spread through his chest. "Master Dean," she whispered, her face inches from his, "I hope you don't mind if I'm a bit forward today. It's difficult to control myself around you." Before he could respond, the scene began to swirl, and Dean felt himself being pulled away. He jolted awake, gasping for breath, his heart pounding. The vividness of the dream lingered like a haunting melody in his mind. Rubbing his eyes, he looked around, realizing he was back in his apartment, surrounded by the familiar clutter of his life. The memory implant had been so lifelike that he could still feel Aaron's touch. As he stumbled to the bathroom, Dean caught a glimpse of something unusual on his wrist, a strange, intricate symbol that resembled an elaborate tattoo. Confused, he examined it closely, a chill creeping down his spine as he recalled seeing a similar mark on Aaron during the memory. "What the hell?" he muttered, scrubbing at the symbol, but it wouldn't budge. A sudden chime from his comm unit broke his concentration. It was a reminder for work, and the realization that he was running late sent a jolt of anxiety through him. He hurriedly dressed, his thoughts still lingering on the memory of Aaron. The day ahead promised to be a blur of paperwork and mind-numbing tasks, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to unfold. As Dean navigated through the bustling streets of New Los Angeles, the towering M Corp building loomed ahead, its holographic logo pulsing ominously in the smoggy air. The irony wasn't lost on him. He worked for a company that specialized in artificial memories, yet his own experience felt shockingly real. "Hey, rough night." Zach, a coworker, greeted him as he arrived at his desk. His smirk was teasing, but Dean could sense genuine concern beneath it. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Dean forced a laugh, trying to deflect the attention. "You could say that. Got a new implant last night." Zap's eyebrows shot up. "Ooh, spicy. What was it about?" "A tropical vacation. Rockstar experience." "Nothing too crazy," Dean lied, not wanting to divulge the details of his encounter with Aaron. "Just a relaxing evening, you know." As the morning dragged on, Dean found it increasingly difficult to concentrate. Every few minutes, his eyes wandered to the strange symbol on his wrist. It felt as if it was pulsating, drawing his attention away from the mundane tasks before him. "Earth to Dean." Zap's voice broke through his thoughts. "Did you hear what I said? We need those reports filed by lunch." "Right, sorry," Dean muttered, shaking his head to clear it. But the symbol on his wrist continued to distract him. He could feel the warmth radiating from it, almost as if it were alive. Lunchtime came as a relief, but it only brought more confusion. Dean stumbled into the break room, desperate for some air. The corridors were crowded, and as he pushed through the throng of people, he caught a flash of blue out of the corner of his eye. He froze, his heart racing. For a moment, he thought he saw Aaron. The familiar violet eyes and flowing azure skin sent him spiraling back to that intimate moment in the memory implant. "Dean." Zap's voice snapped him back to reality, concern etched on his face. "You okay, man? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Yeah, just not feeling great," Dean replied, forcing a smile. "I think I might head home early." "Probably for the best," Zach nodded sympathetically. "You really don't look good. Want me to call you a cab?" "No thanks, I'll be fine." Dean waved off the offer, determination surging within him. He had to figure out what was happening with the implant and the strange mark on his wrist. The trip home felt like a blur, his mind racing with thoughts of Aaron. As he collapsed onto his couch, he flicked on the holographic screen, hoping for a distraction. A news report caught his attention. Mysterious symbols were appearing throughout New Los Angeles. Dean's heart sank as he saw an image flash across the screen. The symbol was identical to the one on his wrist. Authorities were baffled, urging anyone with information to come forward. Panic surged through Dean. This couldn't be a coincidence. The vivid memory implant, the mark on his wrist, and now these strange occurrences. Everything felt connected. Tracing the symbol once more, Dean felt warmth spreading through him, accompanied by a whisper that echoed in his mind. "Find me, Dean." The urgency in her voice sent chills down his spine. This was getting out of control, and he needed answers. Determined to uncover the truth, Dean reached for his comm unit and dialed the number for M-Corp's customer service. After navigating through a labyrinth of automated menus, he finally reached a human representative. "M-Corp customer service, this is Lydia. How may I assist you today?" Her voice was calm, but Dean could sense an underlying tension. "I got a memory implant last night, and I'm experiencing some unusual side effects," Dean explained, trying to keep his voice steady. "I see," Lydia replied, her tone neutral. "Can you describe these side effects?" Dean hesitated, unsure of how much to reveal. "Well, the memory seems more vivid than usual, and I've been seeing things related to the implant in real life. Is that normal?" There was a long pause on the line before Lydia responded, her voice now strained. "Sir, can I ask for your customer ID number?" After providing it, Dean's heart sank further with another lengthy pause. "I see, Mr. Walker. I'm going to transfer you to our Special Services Department. Please hold." Before Dean could protest, the line went silent. Anxiety clawed at him, and he felt a pit forming in his stomach. Finally, a deep masculine voice came through the line. "Mr. Walker, this is William Steele, Head of Security at M-Corp. I understand you're having some concerns about your recent implant." Dean's mouth went dry. "Yes, that's right. I was just wondering if—" "Mr. Walker," Steele interrupted, his voice sharp. "I need you to listen to me very carefully. The implant you received is experiencing a minor malfunction. It's nothing to be concerned about, but we need you to come into our main office immediately for a quick adjustment." "Wait, A car has already been dispatched to your location," Steele continued, talking over Dean's protests. "Please remain in your home until it arrives. Do not attempt to leave or contact anyone else. This is for your own safety and the integrity of our product. Do you understand?" Dean's heart pounded, panic rising within him. "Yes, I understand," he managed to say, feeling trapped. The line went dead, and he sat in silence, the weight of the situation settling heavily on his shoulders. Glancing out the window, he saw a sleek black vehicle pull up outside his apartment building. Two men in dark suits emerged, their eyes hidden behind opaque sunglasses. Panic surged through Dean again. Without thinking, he grabbed his jacket and bolted for the fire escape. As he climbed down, he heard pounding on his apartment door. "Mr. Walker, open up. This is M Corp Security." His heart raced as he hit the alley pavement and took off running, the chaos of his thoughts swirling around him. What had he gotten himself into? The memory implant, the symbol on his wrist, Aaron, none of it made sense. But one thought burned bright in his mind. He needed to find Aaron. She was the key to unraveling this mystery. Pushing through the back alleys and crowded streets, Dean felt the weight of uncertainty on his shoulders. The bustling city was alive around him, but he felt like a ghost, navigating a world that suddenly felt foreign and dangerous. As he ducked into a crowded metro station, he kept his head down, desperate to blend in. Then, like a beacon in the chaos, he saw her, a flash of blue skin and flowing hair, the familiar violet eyes that seemed to pierce through the crowd. "Aaron," he called out, but as he pushed through the throng of commuters, she vanished from sight. Frustration welled up within him, but he pressed on. He had to find her. Whatever was happening, she was at the center of it, and he could feel a connection pulling him closer. With every passing second, the urgency of the situation grew. Little did he know, his pursuit of the truth would lead him down a path that would change not just his life, but the fate of two worlds. Shadows of the past. As Dean stood in the chaotic metro station, his heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. The fleeting glimpse of Aaron had ignited a spark of hope within him, a hope that felt almost tangible amidst the turmoil. He scanned the crowd, his eyes darting from face to face, searching for that familiar flash of blue skin and violet eyes. Just as despair began to creep in, he caught sight of her, standing by a flickering light, looking both ethereal and frightened. "Aaron," he shouted, his voice barely cutting through the noise of panicked commuters. Her name felt like a lifeline, pulling him toward her. He pushed through the throng, feeling the urgency in the air as if the world around him was conspiring to keep them apart. "Dean," she called back, her voice a mix of relief and fear. "We have to go, now." Grabbing her hand, he felt the warmth of her skin, grounding him in the midst of the chaos. "What's happening? Why are you here?" he asked breathlessly as they raced toward the exit, the sirens wailing in the distance like a harbinger of doom. "There's no time to explain," she replied, glancing over her shoulder. "M Corp is tracking you. We have to get somewhere safe." Panic surged through Dean as they burst into the open air. The streets outside were in disarray, with people running in every direction, the air thick with confusion. A loud explosion echoed in the distance, sending another wave of fear through the crowd. The city felt alive with chaos, and Dean's instincts screamed at him to find shelter. "Where do we go?" he asked, scanning the streets for a place to hide. "There's a safe house not far from here," Aaron said urgently. "It's a place where M Corp can't find us." As they dashed down a side street, Dean felt a rush of adrenaline. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the chance to uncover the truth behind the memories and the strange symbol on his wrist. The lingering thoughts of the implant and the vivid dream of Aaron fueled his determination. "Why is M Corp after me?" he asked, trying to keep pace with her. "What do they want?" "Your memory implant was part of something much bigger," she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "They didn't just create a false memory, they extracted a real memory from you. You're connected to a project called Etherian. It's dangerous, Dean, far more dangerous than you can imagine." His mind raced. Etherian. He had never heard of it before. What does it have to do with me? Aaron turned to him, her violet eyes shimmering with intensity. "You have something they want, something I need. If we don't figure this out, they'll stop at nothing to erase you." Dean felt a chill run down his spine. The gravity of her words hit him hard. He was a target now, and M-Corp had their sights set on him. "We need to hurry," he urged, glancing over his shoulder to see if anyone was following. They continued weaving through the alleyways, the sounds of the city growing distant. Finally, they arrived at an inconspicuous door tucked between two dilapidated buildings. Aaron knocked a rhythmic pattern, and the door creaked open to reveal a dimly lit room filled with shadows. "Quick, inside," she urged, pulling Dean in just as the sounds of chaos outside seemed to escalate. Inside, the atmosphere shifted from panic to quiet urgency. The room was filled with makeshift furniture and flickering screens displaying various data streams. A few figures moved about, their faces hidden in the shadows, but Dean could feel their eyes on him. "Who are these people?" he whispered to Aaron as she closed the door behind them. "They're allies," she replied, her voice low. "They help people like us, those who M-Corp sees as threats to their control." One of the figures stepped forward, revealing a young woman with short, spiky hair and a determined look. "Aaron, is this him?" "Yes, this is Dean," she replied, her tone serious. The woman nodded, her expression shifting from suspicion to recognition. "I'm Mia. We don't have much time. M-Corp will be searching for you soon." "Why are they after him?" Mia asked Aaron, her gaze flickering to Dean. "He received an implant that connected him to a memory they thought was lost," Aaron explained, her voice steady. "But it's more than that. It's linked to Project Etherian, and we need to figure out what that means before they find us." Mia's eyes widened, and she quickly glanced at the screens around her. "If that's the case, we need to extract that memory before they can erase it again. It's too risky to leave it in the hands of M-Corp." Dean felt a rush of confusion and fear. "What do you mean extract the memory? I don't even know what's going on." Aaron stepped closer, her expression earnest. "We'll help you, but you need to trust us. You're more important than you realize. Your connection to that memory is the key to uncovering the truth about Etherian." Just then, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed outside the door, followed by the metallic click of a lock being disengaged. Dean's heart dropped as he realized the danger they were in. "They're here," he exclaimed. "Quick, we need to move," Mia said, her voice rising in urgency. "Follow me." Without a moment's hesitation, they followed Mia deeper into the hidden layers of the safe house. She led them through a narrow hallway that opened into a room filled with high-tech equipment. "We can access the memory implant from here," Mia explained, her fingers dancing across the controls. "But we need you to relax, Dean. The process can be overwhelming." Dean nodded, taking a deep breath as he settled into a chair. Aaron stood beside him, her presence a comforting weight. "You're not alone, Dean. We'll get through this together." As Mia began the extraction process, the room filled with a soft hum. Lights flickered as the machine powered up, and Dean felt a wave of energy wash over him. Images flashed in his mind, the vibrant colors of the alien landscape, Aaron's soft voice, and the overwhelming emotions he had felt during the memory implant. "Focus on the details," Mia instructed, her voice calm. "Try to remember everything you experienced." Dean concentrated, letting the memories flow through him. The warmth of Aaron's touch, the scent of exotic flowers, and the sense of connection they had shared. He could feel the essence of the memory deep within him, like a thread woven into the fabric of his being. Suddenly, the door burst open, and two men in dark suits stormed into the room. "Get away from him," one of them shouted, lunging toward Dean. "Now," Aaron yelled, stepping in front of Dean. Mia quickly activated the security protocols, locking the door behind them. "We're almost there, Dean. Just hold on." Dean's heart raced as he watched the men try to break through. "Hurry," he urged, feeling the pressure building inside him. As the machine worked to life, Dean felt a jolt of energy surge through him. The memories began to unfold, revealing hidden layers of truth and connections he had never understood. In that moment, he realized that his life was intertwined with something much larger than himself, a battle between the forces of M-Corp and the truth he held within. Finally, with a burst of energy, the extraction process concluded. Mia's fingers danced over the controls, and she turned to Dean, her eyes wide with realization. "You have to listen to me," she said urgently. "What you've just uncovered is a map to the heart of Project Etherian." "What does that mean?" Dean asked, breathless. "It means that we have a chance to expose M-Corp's secrets and fight back," Mia replied, determination lighting her features. "But we have to act fast. They're not going to stop until they get you back, and we need to be ready." The reality of the situation hit Dean like a wave. He wasn't just a pawn in a game. He was part of a revolution, a chance to stand against the oppression of M-Corp and protect not just himself, but the lives of others like Aaron. As the pounding on the door intensified, Erin took Dean's hand, her touch sending a surge of strength through him. "We can do this," she whispered, her eyes unwavering. "Together, we will find the truth." With that promise hanging in the air, Dean steeled himself for the battle ahead, ready to uncover the secrets of Project Etherian and fight for the future he never knew he wanted. The Awakening Plan. The atmosphere in the safe house buzzed with tension as Dean, Aaron, and Mia gathered around the glowing holographic display that illuminated the dim room. The extracted data from Dean's memory implant flickered before them, revealing a complex network of interconnected files and encrypted messages that hinted at the dark secrets of M-Corp's Project Etherian. Dean felt a mix of confusion and exhilaration as he scanned the swirling images and symbols on the screen. "What do we do with this information?" he asked, struggling to comprehend the enormity of their task. "How can we expose them?" Mia adjusted her glasses, her fingers deftly navigating the holographic interface. "We need to decode this data and pinpoint their operations," she replied, her tone serious. "From what I can see, there are several hidden locations where M-Corp is conducting experiments related to memory manipulation and extraction. If we can access these sites, we might find evidence to expose their unethical practices." Aaron leaned closer to the display, her violet eyes narrowed in concentration. "What if we gather evidence from each location? We could compile everything into a single file, enough to bring them down." Dean nodded, a newfound determination surging within him. "That sounds like a plan. But how do we get in? M-Corp's security is notoriously tight." Mia smirked, her confidence returning. "I might have a few tricks up my sleeve. My team has been working on hacking into M-Corp's internal systems for a while now. If we can create a distraction at their main office, I can slip in and access the information we need." "Distraction," Dean echoed, intrigued yet apprehensive. "What do you have in mind?" Mia's eyes sparkled with mischief. "We create a fake emergency. Something big enough to divert attention, but not too chaotic to put us in danger. With M-Corp's resources, they'll dispatch security to deal with it, leaving their servers vulnerable." "Sounds risky," Aaron cautioned, glancing at Dean. "What if something goes wrong?" Dean felt a knot tighten in his stomach, but the thought of uncovering the truth spurred him on. "We have to take risks. If we don't do this, we're just giving them more time to erase everything." Mia nodded, her expression resolute. "Then let's do it. We need to gather our resources and set a timeline. If we can pull this off, we could disrupt their operations and gather evidence all at once." With a plan forming, the trio began to strategize. They brainstormed ideas for the distraction while also pinpointing the locations they needed to target. Dean felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. This was more than just a fight for his own freedom. It was a battle for everyone who had suffered at the hands of M-Corp's ruthless ambition. As they discussed the details, Dean's mind drifted back to the memories he had experienced during the implant. He recalled Aaron's touch, her laughter, and the vibrant world they had shared. "What if my connection to Aaron is part of this?" he asked, breaking the tension in the room. "What if they were using me to extract memories from aliens or, I don't know, something bigger?" Mia raised an eyebrow. "That's possible. The Etherium project might not just be about human memories. If they're experimenting with cross-species memory transfer, you could be a key element in that research." Dean felt a shiver run down his spine. So, what's at stake isn't just my life, but possibly the lives of others like Aaron. He turned to her, a mix of admiration and fear in his eyes. What if they find out I'm with you? What if they try to hurt you? I can take care of myself, Aaron replied, her voice steady. I've been through this before. Trust me, Dean. Our connection might be the only thing that gives us an advantage. If they come after you, they'll come after me too. I'm in this with you, no matter what. The resolve in her voice made Dean feel stronger. He wasn't alone in this fight, they were in it together. As the three of them worked late into the night, they mapped out their plan, gathering supplies and setting up communication lines with Mia's underground network. The next morning, with a sense of purpose fueling their every action, they set their plan into motion. Mia connected with her contacts, securing equipment that would help them with their infiltration. Meanwhile, Dean and Aaron prepared for their roles in the distraction. Remember, Mia warned as they finalized the details, we'll only have a small window of time to act. If anything goes wrong, we need to be ready to adapt. Dean felt a lump in his throat, but nodded, determination hardening in his chest. We'll make it work, I promise. As they prepared to leave, Aaron took Dean aside. I need you to know something, she said, her eyes locking onto his with intensity. Whatever happens, you are not just a pawn in this game. You're the one holding the key to our future. The weight of her words settled on Dean like a mantle of responsibility. He felt the stirrings of a plan that could not only save him, but also protect those he cared about, including Aaron. With their roles established, they slipped out of the safe house and into the bustling streets of New Los Angeles. The sun blazed overhead, casting a warm glow over the chaotic city as they approached their target, M Corp's main office. Arriving at the perimeter of the M Corp building, Dean felt a rush of nerves. The sleek, glass structure loomed before them, guarded by security drones and armed guards. This is it, he whispered, glancing at Mia and Aaron. Let's do this. As they moved closer, Mia activated her device, creating a false signal that would trigger alarms on the opposite side of the building. On my count, she said, her fingers poised over the controls. 3, 2, 1, now. A blaring alarm erupted from the far end of the building, and chaos ensued as guards scrambled to respond to the emergency. Go, 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 Mia shouted, leading the charge as they slipped through a side entrance that was momentarily unguarded. Inside, the sterile white corridors contrasted sharply with the chaos they had just escaped. The hum of machinery filled the air, punctuated by the sounds of rushing footsteps echoing behind them. They moved swiftly, their hearts racing with the thrill of the heist. Mia guided them toward the server room, her fingers flying over the interface as she hacked into the security system. I'll need a few minutes to access the files, she said, her focus unwavering. Dean and Aaron kept watch, their breaths coming in quick bursts as they listened for any signs of pursuit. The tension was palpable as they stood side by side, united in their purpose. Suddenly, the sound of heavy footsteps approached. They're coming, Aaron hissed, her eyes wide with alarm. Stay close, Dean said, taking a protective stance in front of her. We can't let them see us. Mia's fingers danced over the keyboard, sweat beading on her brow. Just a few more seconds. I can almost. The door to the server room burst open, and 2 armed guards stormed in, scanning the area. What are you doing here? One of them shouted, raising his weapon. Run, Dean yelled, grabbing Aaron's hand as they darted toward the back exit. They burst through a side door just as the guards opened fire, bullets ricocheting off the walls. Dean pulled Aaron along, adrenaline surging as they navigated the maze of corridors. They needed to reach the exit before it was too late. Over here, Mia shouted, gesturing toward an emergency exit. They sprinted toward the door, the sound of footsteps closing in behind them. Just as they reached the exit, Dean glanced back to see one of the guards drawing closer, weapon raised. Hurry, he urged, pushing Aaron through the door. They burst into the bright sunlight, the chaos of the outside world a stark contrast to the sterile corridors they had just fled. With a surge of determination, they sprinted toward the nearest alley, heart pounding in their chests. "Did you get the data?" Dean asked breathlessly as they ducked behind a dumpster to catch their breath. "Yes, it's all here," Mia exclaimed, holding up a small data drive. "We did it." As the adrenaline began to fade, Dean felt a wave of relief wash over him. They had succeeded in their mission, but the danger wasn't over yet. "What's next?" he asked, glancing at Aaron and Mia. "We need to get this data to my contacts," Mia said, her expression serious. "But we also need to lay low. M-Corp will be on high alert now that they know we're a threat." "Right," Dean nodded, determination flickering back to life. "Let's find a safe place to regroup. We have to analyze this data and figure out how to expose M-Corp for good." As they slipped back into the shadows of the city, Dean's resolve strengthened. This was just the beginning. With Aaron by his side and Mia's expertise guiding them, they would uncover the truth behind Project Etherian and bring M-Corp to its knees. And deep down, Dean knew he was no longer just a pawn. He was a player in a much larger game, ready to reclaim his destiny and fight for the future of all those caught in the web of M-Corp's ambition. The calm before the storm. The air felt electric as Dean, Aaron, and Mia navigated the narrow alleys of New Los Angeles, the chaos of their daring escape still echoing in their minds. The weight of the data drive nestled in Mia's pocket was a tangible reminder of the risks they had taken and the fight that lay ahead. They had narrowly escaped M-Corp's grasp, but Dean knew they were only at the beginning of a much larger confrontation. "Where do we go now?" Dean asked, glancing over his shoulder as they turned down a dimly lit side street. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows that danced along the cracked pavement. He felt a flicker of anxiety. They had evaded capture for now, but he knew it was only a matter of time before M-Corp intensified their search. Maya looked thoughtful, her brow furrowing as she considered their options. "We need a place where we can lay low for a while and analyze the data without fear of being discovered. I have a contact in the underground network who might be able to help us find a safe house." Underground network. Dean raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What exactly does that entail? "It's a coalition of people who resist M-Corp and their control over society," Mia explained, her eyes sparkling with passion. "They provide safe havens, resources, and intelligence to those who need it. I've worked with them before, but I haven't been in touch for a while. I hope they're still active." "Let's hope they are," Aaron added, squeezing Dean's hand for reassurance. "We need all the help we can get." With renewed determination, they continued through the winding streets, making their way to a rundown building that blended seamlessly into its surroundings. The exterior was nondescript, painted in dull grays and browns, with a single flickering neon sign hanging above the door. The sign read, "The Phoenix Nest," a known hideout for those seeking refuge from M-Corp's watchful eye. "This is it," Mia said, leading them to the entrance. She knocked a specific rhythm on the door, a code that would signal they were allies rather than enemies. After a moment, the door creaked open, revealing a tall figure cloaked in shadows. "Welcome back, Mia," the figure greeted, his voice low and gravelly. "What brings you here?" "I need a safe space and access to a terminal," Maya replied, her tone all business. "We're on the run and we have information that could change everything." The figure stepped aside, allowing them to enter. Inside, the atmosphere was a stark contrast to the outside world. The dimly lit room was filled with makeshift furniture, posters of resistance slogans plastered on the walls, and screens displaying data streams from various locations. The faint hum of technology mingled with the chatter of a few other patrons, creating an environment that felt both lively and clandestine. "Find a spot to settle," the man said, gesturing to an unoccupied table in the corner. "I'll get you set up." Dean, Aaron, and Nia chose a table that offered a good view of the room's entrance while allowing them to stay somewhat hidden from sight. They settled in, and Mia immediately pulled out the data drive, connecting it to a nearby terminal. The screen flickered to life, casting an eerie glow over their faces as she began to sort through the data they had stolen. "What exactly are we looking for?" Aaron asked, leaning closer to the screen, her curiosity piqued. "Anything that reveals the extent of M-Corp's operations regarding Project Etherian," Maya replied, her fingers dancing over the keys. "We need evidence of their experiments and any connections to memory extraction from living beings, especially aliens." Dean felt a mix of anticipation and dread. They were diving deep into dangerous waters, but the prospect of uncovering the truth gave him hope. As Mia worked, Dean's thoughts drifted back to Aaron and the bond they had formed. He felt a surge of gratitude that she was by his side, her strength grounding him in the face of uncertainty. After a few minutes, the terminal beeped, and a series of files appeared on the screen. Mia quickly scanned through them, her expression growing serious. "This is it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They have extensive documentation here. We need to analyze it carefully." As they pored over the files, Dean's heart raced. He learned about experiments involving memory manipulation, alterations of perception, and attempts to extract memories from alien species. The implications were staggering. M-Corp was not just a corporation. They were a powerful force manipulating lives, erasing identities, and controlling the very fabric of reality. "This is worse than I thought," Dean murmured, shaking his head in disbelief. "They're playing God." "It's a twisted game," Mia agreed, her voice tense with anger. "They're exploiting beings for their own gain. We need to get this information out to the public." "Do you think anyone will believe us?" Aaron asked, her tone tinged with doubt. M-Corp has a powerful grip on society. "We'll make them believe," Maya replied fiercely. "We just need to gather enough evidence to back up our claims. Once people see the truth, they'll rise up against M-Corp." As they continued to analyze the data, Dean couldn't shake the feeling of impending danger. They had already risked so much, and the stakes were only getting higher. Suddenly, the door to the Phoenix nest swung open, and a gust of cold air rushed in, drawing their attention. A group of 3 armed men entered, their presence radiating authority. Dean's heart dropped as he recognized the insignia on their uniforms, M-Corp Security. "Stay calm," Mia whispered urgently, her eyes darting to the exit. "Let's not attract attention," Aaron added, her grip tightening on Dean's hand. The armed men scanned the room, their expressions stern. Dean held his breath, praying they wouldn't spot them. The tension was palpable as the men approached the bar, speaking in low tones with the bartender. Dean felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. They had to get out before they were discovered. "Mia, we need to move," Dean urged, his voice low but urgent. "They can't find us here." "Just a little longer," Mia insisted, her fingers still flying over the keyboard. "I'm almost through the data." The seconds ticked by painfully slowly as Dean kept his gaze fixed on the armed men. They seemed preoccupied with their drinks, but the threat of discovery hung heavy in the air. "We can't risk it," he pressed. "What if they start asking questions?" All right, Maya relented, her expression fraught with urgency. "Let's pack up." As she disconnected the data drive, Dean felt a sense of relief mixed with urgency. They had to get the information out, but their safety was paramount. The 3 of them stood, carefully maneuvering toward the exit while keeping an eye on the armed men. Just as they reached the door, one of the guards glanced in their direction. "Hey, you," he barked, his voice sharp as he pointed. Dean's heart raced as he realized they had been spotted. "Run," he shouted, bursting through the door just as the guard reached for his weapon. Outside, the cool night air hit them like a wave, and they took off down the street, adrenaline propelling them forward. "Which way?" Aaron gasped, glancing back to see if they were being pursued. "Left," Mia shouted, leading the way as they ducked into an alleyway. They sprinted through the narrow passage, heart pounding in their chests. desperate to put distance between themselves and the threat of capture. Once they reached a quieter street, they slowed to catch their breath, leaning against a wall. Dean glanced at Mia, her expression determined but strained. "Did you get everything?" he asked, panting. "Yeah, I got the data drive," she replied, her voice steadying. "But we need to find a better way to protect it. They'll be hunting us down now." "What's the next step?" Aaron asked, her brow furrowed in concentration. "We lay low for a bit, find a place to regroup and plan our next move," Mia suggested. "We can't let them catch us again." Dean nodded, adrenaline still coursing through him. They had narrowly escaped, but the real battle was just beginning. The information they carried could turn the tide against M-Corp, but they needed to be strategic and cautious. As they ventured into the shadows of the city, Dean felt a growing sense of purpose. He was no longer just an ordinary technician, he was part of something bigger. A movement to reclaim the truth and fight back against oppression. And with Aaron by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The streets of New Los Angeles felt different now. They were no longer just a backdrop to Dean's mundane life. They were a battleground where he would fight for freedom, justice, and the chance to forge a new destiny, not just for himself, but for everyone who had suffered under M-Corp's ruthless regime. With the data drive secure and their spirits unyielding, the trio moved deeper into the heart of the city, determined to reclaim their lives and expose the dark secrets that had plagued humanity for too long. Unraveling the truth, in the dimly lit confines of an abandoned warehouse, the atmosphere was thick with anticipation as Dean, Aaron, and Mia gathered around a makeshift table cluttered with maps, data drives, and holographic projectors. The adrenaline from their narrow escape still pulsed through their veins, fueling their resolve as they prepared to delve into the secrets hidden within the data Mia had extracted from M-Corp. The warehouse, with its cracked concrete walls and flickering overhead lights, felt like a refuge from the chaos of the outside world. It was a stark reminder of the city's forgotten past, a place where shadows danced in the corners and the echoes of distant footsteps faded into silence. Dean took a deep breath, grounding himself in the present. They had found a temporary haven, but time was of the essence. "Let's get started," Mia said, her voice steady as she activated the holographic projector. A three-dimensional map of New Los Angeles sprang to life, illuminating their faces with a soft blue glow. "I managed to gather some critical locations from the data. These are the sites where M-Corp is conducting their experiments related to Project Etherian." Dean leaned in closer, studying the map. Red markers blinked ominously on various spots across the city, indicating areas of interest. These locations, that all highly secured, he noted, concern threading through his words. "How do we get inside?" Mia tapped a marker on the map, causing it to expand into a detailed view. "This one here is an underground facility. It's where they've been conducting memory extractions on alien subjects. If we can get in there, we might find concrete evidence to expose M-Corp's operations." Aaron's eyes widened, a mixture of fear and excitement flickering across her features. "You mean actual alien experiments? That's insane." "It's worse than that," Maya replied, her expression grave. "According to the files, they've been using advanced technology to manipulate memories, making them stronger and more malleable. They can extract memories and implant them in others, effectively altering identities." Dean felt a chill run down his spine. So they're not just erasing memories, they're weaponizing them. "Exactly," Mia confirmed, her fingers hovering over the data projections. "And if we can gather evidence from this facility, we can prove to the world what M-Corp is really doing. But we have to be careful. Their security is tighter than ever." "Do we have a plan for getting in?" Aaron asked, her brows knitted together in concern. "Yeah," Maya replied, a determined glint in her eyes. "We create a diversion again, just like before, but this time we'll need inside help. I have a contact who can provide us with access codes for the security systems." "What about the guards?" Dean pressed. "We can't just stroll in there." "We need to split up," Mia explained. "I'll handle the distraction and access the security systems from the inside. You two can slip in while their attention is focused elsewhere." Dean nodded, adrenaline coursing through him. "I'm ready to do whatever it takes." "But Aaron," he turned to her, concern evident in his eyes. "Are you sure you want to come? This could get dangerous." Aaron took a deep breath, her determination unwavering. "I'm not going to sit back and let you two take all the risks. I want to help Dean. We're in this together." Mia smiled, appreciating their camaraderie. "All right then, here's the plan. We meet at the facility in 2 hours. I'll contact my inside source to make sure we have everything we need. Remember, timing is critical. If we wait too long, M-Corp might tighten security even further." As they finalized the details, Dean felt a sense of purpose wash over him. This was it, the moment they would confront the darkness that had loomed over their lives. They would fight back, not just for themselves, but for all those who had been victimized by M-Corp's relentless pursuit of power. Once the plan was set, they took a moment to gather their thoughts and prepare for the challenges ahead. Dean and Aaron stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the cool night air. The stars twinkled above them, a reminder that even in the darkest times, there was still light to be found. "Are you scared?" Aaron asked softly, looking up at the stars. Dean chuckled lightly, the tension in his chest easing. "A little, but I think I'm more excited than scared. This is our chance to make a difference." Aaron smiled, her determination shining through. "We'll do this together. No matter what happens, I'll be right by your side." With their resolve strengthened, they returned to the warehouse, where Mia was already working on the data drive. "I'll have everything ready in a few minutes," she called out, her fingers a blur as she navigated the terminal. "Do you think we'll really find something useful?" Dean asked, anxiety creeping back into his voice. Mia looked up, her expression serious. "If what we suspect is true, then yes. We'll find the evidence we need to expose M-Corp's atrocities to the world." As they prepared for the mission ahead, Dean couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. This wasn't just about survival. It was about truth, justice, and reclaiming the lives stolen by M-Corp's greed. With the clock ticking down, they each took a moment to reflect on what was at stake. Dean thought of all the people who had suffered under M-Corp's reign, the lives manipulated and erased. He felt a surge of anger and determination to ensure that no one else would endure what they had experienced. When Mia finally finished preparing the data, she turned to them, her eyes bright with anticipation. "All right, are we ready?" "Ready as we'll ever be," Dean replied, feeling the weight of their mission settle over him. "Then let's do this," Mia said, her voice filled with conviction. As they stepped out into the night, the streets of New Los Angeles felt alive with possibility. This was their moment to reclaim not only their own futures, but the futures of countless others. With hearts full of hope and determination, they set off toward the unknown, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their quest for truth and justice.